So, if you've been feeling even a little bit anxious about AI lately, trust me, you are not alone. And over the next few minutes, we're going to try to turn that vague feeling of anxiety into something a lot more like understanding and maybe even a sense of control. Let's dive in.
Yeah, it's a feeling a lot of us have, right? You see the headlines, you hear the talk about jobs, and it's easy to feel like you're just standing there against this huge, unstoppable wave. But here's the thing, millions of people feel that way. And just acknowledging that, that's the first step to getting a handle on it.
And that brings us to a really core idea for this whole conversation. Fear itself, not actually the problem. It's unstructured fear. You know, that vague, something bad is coming feeling that just freezes you up? But what if we could give that fear some shape? Figure out what's really worth worrying about and what's just noise. If we do that, fear stops being a barrier and starts being a tool for thinking clearly.
All right, so first up, the problem with AI fear. Before we can tackle it, we've got to understand, where does this feeling even come from? What is it about AI that really gets under our skin? Well, it really boils down to a few key things. For one, it uses language just like we do. It feels kind of human, right? Almost magical. Second, it doesn't just give answers, it gives outputs that look like decisions. And third, and let's just be real here, most of what we think we know about AI doesn't come from actually using the technology. It comes from watching decades of sci-fi movies where the robots always take over. And that's the perfect lead-in to our next section, what AI is and what it isn't. To really get past those sci-fi fears, we have to get clear on what today's AI actually is. It's time to pull back the curtain and separate the science fiction from the science fact.
Okay, so pretty much every AI you use today, every single one, is what experts call narrow AI. Now, don't get me wrong, it's an incredibly powerful tool, but it's built for one specific job. It can be a grandmaster at chess, or it can generate an amazing image, but it has absolutely zero awareness of what it's doing. It's not conscious, it's not thinking, it's like a hyper-specialized employee, not a CEO who understands the whole company. And this right here, this is the fundamental difference. We humans, we operate on context and meaning. We know why we're saying something. An AI, it's basically the world's most powerful pattern matching machine. It's just ingested a mind-boggling amount of data, and its entire job is to predict the most likely next word or the most likely next pixel. It's not thinking, it's calculating. It's always just asking, what comes next?
And this is where we can all get tripped up, because an AI can sound so fluent, so confident. Our brains are wired to believe it. But that confidence is an illusion. It's just a byproduct of good pattern matching. The AI has no clue what's true or false. Its confidence is just a part of the program. It has absolutely nothing to do with whether the information is correct. Okay, so if the robot apocalypse isn't the thing to worry about right now, then what are the real risks of AI? It's time to move away from that Hollywood-style dread and focus on the practical, real-world problems that we actually need to solve. Let's break it down into four big categories. First up is bias. An AI is only as good as the data it's trained on. So if that data is full of our own human biases, well, the AI will not only learn them, it might even make them worse. Second, privacy. These systems need huge amounts of data to work, which creates a massive incentive for companies to track everything. Third, opacity. This is the whole black box problem. AI can be so complex that even its creators can't always explain why it made a certain decision, and that makes it really hard to check its work. And finally, and this one's huge, is over-reliance. There's a real danger we'll just start accepting what the AI tells us without thinking, and we could lose some of our own critical thinking skills along the way. And when you put all that together, you get to what might be the single biggest risk of all. It's not that the AI is going to wake up one day and turn on us. No, the real danger is us. It's our tendency to put too much trust in these systems that are, let's remember, imperfect and not actually thinking. The risk isn't the tool, it's how we choose to use it. Now, that might sound a little scary, but think about it. It's actually really empowering. Because if the biggest risk is human, that means the solution is human too. And that brings us to a crucial point. Humans are still in control. I mean, AI didn't just appear out of thin air, right? It's not some alien technology. It's a tool that was thought up, designed, built, and is now operated by people. Every single AI you've ever used is the result of thousands of human choices. So what does that control actually look like? Well, it's there at every single step of the process. First, humans define the goal. We decide what the AI is supposed to do. Second, we provide the data, and that choice of what data to feed it is, well, it's a massive deal. Third, we design the actual models, the architecture. And finally, we're the ones who set the rules, the guardrails, the safety constraints. The human fingerprint is all over it. So the big takeaway is this: AI doesn't just happen. The results we get from it, the good and the bad, are a direct reflection of the human decisions that were made all along the way. Which brings us to the most important part of all of this: your role in the future. Now that we've broken down the fear and we see where the human control is, what can you do? How do you take back that sense of agency? It really all starts with just asking the right questions. Anytime you come across a new AI tool, whether you're using it for work or just for fun, the key is to not just be a passive user. You need to have a little framework in your head for how to think about it. And here's a super simple but really powerful one. Just 4 questions. First, who built this thing and what was their goal? Second, what data was it trained on and what kind of biases could be lurking in there? Third, where does it break? What are its limitations? Where is it probably going to fail? And last but not least, who is accountable when things go wrong? See, that right there, that's the mental shift. It's about moving from just passively accepting what the machine gives you to actively, critically examining it. And when you start asking those questions, AI stops being this big, scary, abstract thing, and it becomes a tool that you can actually understand and evaluate. So how do you keep that confidence and clarity going forward? A few final tips. Try to focus on understanding the big ideas, the core concepts of how AI works, not just chasing the latest, trendiest app. Make sure you're getting your information from trusted, solid sources. And probably most important of all, just stay curious. This stuff is changing incredibly fast, and making a little time for learning is the absolute best way to stay empowered. So let's bring it all home. We started by talking about fear, and the goal was never to get rid of it completely. The goal is to transform it. Because that vague, unstructured fear, it just leads to paralysis. But informed concern? Well, that's different. Informed concern creates agency. And it's that agency that gives every single one of us the power to help shape how this incredible technology gets used.